So, yeah, okay. So this isn't bad. Fight the master. Oh, I'm going to read this shit. Are you ready? I'm going to do it. I'm going to read this whole fucking thing. So settle in. Okay. Here we go. Prelude. Rebirth of honor. You're the one watching the stream. So this is what you get. What's up, Contra? Contra, you did it. That's it. Home. That's it. We did it. We did it, friends. Thank you, Contra. You're the best. It happened. Let's celebrate by reading Rebirth of Honor. So we'll get a new sub emote. Check it out. Oh, Spaceship Taco making it even better. Look, boop, beep, boop. We're gonna get one of these. I'll probably put up like a vote. I'll probably put up a vote in the Discord. But look, we get a new emote. Oh, that's so exciting. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. All right.
You have returned.
All right, everybody. Here we go. Imagine, if you will, the year is 1994. The location, I don't know, the Orient, probably. Prelude, Rebirth of Honor. I'm gonna just mute the sub sounds because we got to take this seriously. Okay, so just
welcome to the math squad.
B's 4, hang on. Thank you, but just hang on a second. Okay, here we go. All right. Fight. The master cried out. Jackson began circling. Jackson began circling his young opponent. The boy had lived and studied with the master for several years now. He was fast, and his technique had come a long way. The boy's hands raised into the traditional guard position of snake kung fu, so the master had already shared his snake system with the boy. Jackson thought. He recalled his own years of waiting to learn that knowledge from the master, and now the boy knew it as well. The boy advanced quickly in the twisting snake walk, his hands striking like twin cobras. Jackson stepped circularly to avoid the boy's strikes. He evaded one of the darting hands, but felt the other strike a pressure point in his arm. Too many hamburgers, Mr. Jackson, the master chuckled. Slows you down. Determination knotted Jackson's face. His arm was going numb. Had the master already begun teaching the boy the dim mac technique? Dim mac death touch, motherfucker. When the boy advanced again, Jackson met him with a spinning back fist. The boy's strike was quicker, glancing off Jackson's rib before the back fist crashed into the boy's head and sent the youth sprawling to the ground. Feeling the rush of impending victory, Jackson pounced on the boy. He instinctively located a certain point along the boy's spine, straightened his own hand into the snake finger thrust, and struck the pressure point. Nothing happened for an instant. Jackson crouched above the boy, confused. The strike should have induced instant and painless paralysis. Had his technique become that slop? But then, the boy began screaming in agony and rolling around on the floor, clutching his back. His entire body jerked in a series of spasms that seemed as though they would tear him asunder. Jackson stood there, numb with terror. What had he done to the boy? Oh my God, this is really long. What had he done to the boy? The master brushed Jackson aside and crouched over the boy. The old man's hands began massaging various points along the boy's back and neck. The master was applying his own chi to the young student's vital points, trying to restore the damage Jackson had done. Finally, the boy stopped screaming, and the tension of pain left his body. The master rolled the boy over and inspected his eyes and tongue. You will be fine now, pal, the master said softly. Mr. Jackson's strike was wrongly timed. Use this incident as a lesson on the consequences of the improper use of the Dimmac touch and the importance of knowing how to heal the body before learning how to destroy it. Jackson walked away, cursing himself. Oh, fuck, I'm the worst. He remembered how now that the Dimmac spinal strike only induced paralysis during the evening hours, when the body's chi flow was beginning to adjust for sleep. To use it during the day, as Jackson had on the boy, would have caused kidney failure. and a slow, agonizing death if the master had not corrected the damage. It had been too long since Jackson had studied and trained his Dimak technique. Jackson's mind raced over the last 3 years since he had left Master Kwan's house. They were a blur of opening commercial schools and teaching beginners the art of kung fu. He's fucking Johnny Cage. The first school had been too successful, and Jackson had been drawn into the commercial side of American martial arts. He had opened school after school, Cobra Kai after Cobra Kai, letting his top students run them as businesses more than centers of knowledge. Master Kwan accompanied Jackson into the training room. "Mr. Jackson, follow, please." It's funny because, like, I feel like this was written in the, like, really over-the-top, like, Chinese master voice. Like, I don't want to do it because I feel like the voice you're intended to think in your head is, like, fucking James Hong from Big Trouble in Little China. I'm not going to do that. Jackson followed Master Kwan through a door that led to a small meditation room off the main training floor. The room was small. You just said that. Oh my God, this is so good. Let me read this again. Okay. Jackson followed Master Kwan through a door that led into a small meditation room off the main training room. The room was small. And partitioned by paper screens. His back to a representation of a writhing Chinese dragon, Master Kwan looked deeply into his former student's eyes before speaking. "Maurice, what has happened to you?" Oh my God, this is totally Maurice from fucking Mirror Shades. Maurice became this guy. Also, Maurice Jackson. It's not DJ. It's just like it's like a original character. Jackson shook his head. "I don't know, Master Kwan. It was an accident, you know? I got overly excited. The boy is very good. And I guess I felt challenged." The master looked at Jackson grimly. "Maurice, you hold in your hands an ancient and deadly secret, one that can be used to cause untold misery. Even in sloppy hands like yours, the Dimak has become like a gun that can misfire at any moment. You have lost your sense of purpose, your dedication. You are no longer the student I once knew." Oh, shit. Yakuza. Oh, my God. How many pages? Oh, it's like 6 pages. All right, it's fine. I'm ready. We're going to keep doing it. The master's words stung Maurice harder than any punch or kick had ever had. Kwan continued. "When I came to America, I found a young boy filled with anger, tired of poverty. I saw that boy become a man and gave him the greatest treasure I had." Hold on. I have to just cue something up for later, for when we're done. Just give me a second here.
Go, Nick.
Oh, damn it, Vanilla. You gave it away. All right. So anyway, when I came to America... Oh, boy. When I came to America, I found a young boy filled with anger, tired of poverty. I saw that boy become a man, and I gave him the greatest treasure I had. I gave him the knowledge of my kung fu and the secret technique of Dimak. Now that man is gone. In his place is you with your gold chains and your expensive cars. You who have sold my treasure to all who will pay on the installment program. You are too busy making money even to hold your family together. You punch calculators more often than boards. You, Mr. Jackson, have lost the honor and dedication of the art. Fuck, that is cold, Sensei. You punch calculators more often than boards. Ooh, it hurts. Jackson once again felt like the young, angry punk who had entered Master Kwan's home all those years ago. His rage leapt from him. "What do you know, old man?" he shouted. What do you know about my dreams? I've created 10 schools that teach your art. And what thanks have I gotten from you? Keep your honor. I don't need that crap from you. I've been taking your wisdom too long anyway. You don't know jack. Ooh, don't disrespect your master. Sadness swept across Master Kwan's face. Leave my house, Maurice Jackson, and do not return until you have mastered yourself once again. I must have young Pow survive his training so that someone can pass down my kung fu honorably. Jackson stormed past the old man, slamming the door open. He stalked across the training hall, passing Pow, who stared at him with shock. Jackson left the house, marched down the dirt and gravel driveway towards his Porsche convertible. He hopped in the car, gunned the engine, and roared out. Master Kwan's house sat atop a cliff face, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The driveway leading to the house wound its way up the steep cliff face from the main road far below. Jackson's anger fueled a mad race down the driveway. He took a sharp curve and had to whip the steering wheel sideways to avoid a van that was barreling right at him. Jackson swerved past the van, glancing back at the large black vehicle as it ascended largely towards the large house. Jackson hit the main road at full tilt and sped down the coastal highway, away from the house, where he had spent a good many years of his life. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Kwan, the man said with a heavy Castilian Spanish accent. His tailored suit spoke of European aristocracy. Several men filed through the doorway behind him, fanning out into a phalanx of dark-suited, determined men. Yeah, he looks very Spanish. I am Felipe de Aragon. I have traveled a long way. I'm just doing fucking the Puss in Boots. What's that guy's name? That actor. I can't help it. I'm trying not to. I am Felipe de Aragon. I have traveled a long way to see you. Master Kwan quietly bowed to Pow, signaling an end to their exercise. Antonio Banderas. Yeah, it's pretty much. Pow bowed. Bow. And stepped back to the edge of the training floor while Master Kwan turned to the Spaniard. I remember your letters, Mr. de Aragon. Unfortunately, your travel has been wasted. My position has not wavered. I do not teach my art of Dimak to strangers. Certainly not strangers who have reputations as Shadowloo assassins. Yeah, it's Vega for sure. Most unfortunate. He just became Japanese. Most unfortunate. I don't think you realize how treasured your Dimak art is to me. With it, I could challenge that vain fool It's not Vega. Never mind. I could challenge that vain fool Vega to become Bison's new right-hand man. But, no matter. If you will not teach me your art, then you will die with it. Such is the decree of Lord Bison. I am old, but I can still fight when I must, Master Kwan said. Oh, really? De Aragon sneered. You are far too old to hit one trained in the ways of ninjutsu. How can your Dimak help you? If you cannot touch me. Look at this dude. Fuck. Oh, so good. Jackson looked out over the highway rail guard. The scenic overlook stop offered a spectacular view of the Pacific Ocean. Again, he mused over events of the last few years. His preoccupation with his growing business had ultimately led to his divorce. He couldn't remember the last time he visited his baby girl, but man, was he rich now. He didn't see many black men running kung fu schools in San Francisco. Truth. He sighed heavily. In his heart, he knew it wasn't worth it. He had wanted to teach people the joy and beauty and skull-cracking force of kung fu. But instead, he had become a businessman. Ooh, Over the years, his rigorous training regimen had been reduced to sporadic workouts, crammed in between business appointments. The people and the art that he had loved were gone from him now. Master Kwan was right. He had forsaken the path of honor. Immediately following this realization, Jackson felt his spirit renewed. A calm that he hadn't felt in years swept through his body. He had to return to Master Kwan and apologize. He had to return to the life of a warrior. When Jackson pulled up to the house, the sun was setting over the ocean, casting long shadows over the grounds. The black van was parked next to the house, and several men in suits were standing around, arguing in what sounded like Spanish. As Jackson pulled up, they snapped to attention and shouted a warning toward the house. Jackson felt disaster brewing. He hopped out of the Porsche and strode quickly toward the house. "What's going on here?" he shouted. One of the men stepped out in front of him and clamped a hand onto Jackson's shoulder. "Do not go in there." "Stand aside! I am at home here. You are the stranger. Get back in your fancy car and get out of here," the stranger spat in a thick Spanish accent. I keep going Italian. Jackson struck like a viper. His fingers jabbed into the arm that held his shoulder, pinching a vital point below the man's elbow. The man cried out as his arm lost all sense of feeling. Jackson brushed him aside and was about to enter the house when another man emerged. The new man was obviously the ringleader. He wore a finer suit and carried himself with an air of authority. He also had a token that was different from the other men, and he figured he was probably the boss. Wiping blood from the blade of a sword cane with a white handkerchief, the man glanced idly at Jackson. Jackson stepped back and eyed the newcomer. The Spanish man eyed his comrade, who was holding a limp arm and yelping. The man smiled and turned back to Jackson. "You must be Maurice Jackson." "I am. How do you know me?" "I always research the friends and relatives of those I kill." Sometimes kidnapping provides excellent leveraging. Holy fuck. Yeah, look at that dude. Sorry, spoilers. Jackson suddenly felt ill. This is like the whole book. He ran past the Spaniard and into the training room. In the middle of the floor was the dead body of Master Kwan, Young Pao's corpse. I like that Young Pao chicken. It's good stuff. Get it with some of the noodles. Sprawled in a corner. "Kwan would not teach me what I wanted to know," the Spaniard said as he followed Jackson into the room. "Perhaps you will be more reasonable. My Shadaloo masters have instructed me to acquire the secrets of Dimmak, or extinguish the knowledge from the earth." "You ruthless son of a..." "Don't lose your temper with me, Mr. Jackson, or you will regret the consequences. I am Felipe de Aragon, ninja and assassin for Shadaloo. Your master could not defeat me, and you would be an easy mark." I want you to teach me Dimmak," the Spanish ninja continued. "I can make it worth your while, Jackson. You like money, don't you? You ditched your wife, so maybe more pretty women would excite you, eh? I've got 3 DVDs of pretty women. I can arrange that. I know your type, Jackson. The martial way has brought you money, power, and fame. People like you and I are meant to possess the knowledge and the power. Name your price, Jackson." Jackson walked over to his master's body. The old man lay very still because he's dead. Blood pooled around his body from dozens of slashes across his arms and legs. The ninja had dealt a slow death. Jackson turned back to the ninja and began taking off his jacket. "The old Maurice Jackson might have taken you up on that deal, Mr. Shadaloo Assassin. But not this man. This Maurice Jackson's gonna make you pay for what you done." "Such bravado. Unfortunately, I've already soiled my hands once today. I have no wish to break a sweat killing you. Men, kill him slowly." Killing him slowly with... The Spanish men, 4 total, drew knives from their coats and advanced on Jackson. They began to circle him, while de Aragon watched. "Hype! Jackson dropped into a tiger kung fu stance. As the men burst towards him, he turned to two of them and roared. Chi rose in his throat, amplifying the yell to a thunderous noise. The two men, stunned by the force, fell away. Jackson turned to the other two advancing. He leapt over one, flipping through the air to land behind them. He thrust his leg into one man's back, sending the man flying across the training floor. The fourth man advanced, slashing with his knife. Jackson leapt away from the slashing blade and bounced back toward the man, raking his chest with tiger claw hand strikes. The man shrieked as his jacket, shirt, and skin shredded. Ah, I got that in Ginza. Jackson finished with a roundhouse kick to the head. Kaboom! The two men had recovered from the shout and came charging at Jackson. He crouched down, timing their approaches, then sprang into the air, lashing out with both legs. The kicks landed squarely in the men's faces. Pow-pow! Sending them crashing into unconsciousness. Flying tiger comes out of his cave, Maurice said as he turned to the four bodies around him to look at Daragon. That's basic tiger kung fu. I'm surprised your men are so poorly trained. Daragon laughed. Ha 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 ha. These fools are cheaply replaced. There are plenty of tired bullfighters in Spain who will jump at the chance to become more like Vega. Always Vega. The Spaniard spat on his monitor as he said the name. Well, it seems I shall have to deal with you personally. Daragon removed his coat and whipped his sword through the air. The slender blade whistled as it danced in the ninja's hand. Satisfied with his blade, Daragon began walking calmly towards Jackson. Jackson barely saw the shuriken in time. Daragon had thrown the star-shaped blade, in case you didn't know what a shuriken was, as he walked, trying to catch Jackson off guard. Jackson coiled into rearing serpent, twisting so the blade flew past his chest. Then Daragon was on him in one leap. Jackson flung himself backward into wounded tiger fall, but the Spaniard was quick, and the sword drew a line of blood across Jackson's chest. Daragon laughed like a cat playing with a mouse. Meow. You're slower than the old man, Jackson. The ninja leaped again, cutting across Jackson's shoulder before he could roll away from the blade. Jackson's heart was pumping. This must be how he killed Master Kwan, Jackson thought. One slash after another, like a bullfighter sticking sword after sword into the charging bull because he's Spanish. So bullfighters, of course, because he couldn't learn to be a ninja just like a regular type person. Jackson had to be smarter. Daragon leaped again, but this time Jackson rolled under him and kicked upward with his foot, striking Daragon on the leg. The ninja was bemused by the glancing kick. Perhaps you provide some sport after all, Daragon said, but you'll have to do better than that pathetic kick if you want to. If you want to stop me. Ugh. The ninja trailed off as he looked down at his leg. The muscles shivered uncontrollably where Jackson's kick had touched the ninja's leg. Daragon's leg began to spasm. Then the other leg spasmed as well, dropping the ninja to the ground. Dropping the ninja to the ground. Shit. What have you done to me? He shrieked. Dimac, Jackson said. The pressure points of snake kung fu. You wanted it so badly. Now you have it. Your legs will never move again, ninja. Your killing days are over. No! I'll kill you for this! Daragon yelled. I'm gonna call the police. Don't run off anywhere. Oh my god, it's so good. I fucking love this shit. Jackson said as he walked off the floor. I'll kill you for this. You haven't heard the last of Felipe de Aragon of Châteauroux, the ninja screamed after him.